All right. Well, hey, welcome into Rock Down Detroit Lions breaking news, free agency signings. Look, man, the gas is on. The heat is hot. Brad is cooking. And this dude is whipping up a 12-course meal for us Lions fans this season. He's done great. He just solidified free agency for us by signing or pending signing offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, former Baltimore Raven, who just turned 34 years old about 10 days ago. He is now or will be soon a Detroit Lion as soon as he passes his medical testing, from what I understand, that will be happening soon here in Allen Park. And this definitely solves our offensive line. Good shout out there, Braylon Dennis. But I think I have a different plan in my mind for how this is going to shake out. Bear with me here. I'm thinking right now that Graham Glasgow is going to swing to the left side, and Kevin Zeitler will stay at his traditional right guard position. It makes more sense. Graham Glasgow showed us last season his versatility with being able to play all three positions in the interior of the offensive line, and that's what I'm expecting to happen right now. I have not, of course, been able to dig in to see just how many times Zeitler's moved to the left side, if at all, throughout his very long NFL career. So that's what I'm expecting to happen right now. And of course, this is just a quick update. We're going to give you guys some quick news here and my thoughts. And then we'll be back here right around 8 o'clock to go live for tonight's Off the Cuff. So you guys, I don't know if you guys saw the video earlier, but if you did, I would like to know what you thought, because guess what? He did it again. Talking about grabbing a guy that has experience with our schedule in 2024. I mean, the stars are aligning for what Brad is doing. It only makes sense that you grab the guys that have the most experience heading into the new season. And yet again, Zeitler played last season the Texans, the Colts, the Titans, the Cardinals, Seahawks, Rams, the Jags, the 49ers, and the Texans again in the divisional round of the playoffs. So that's 8 teams on our schedule for 2024. And 2 times against the Texans, who will definitely be a dominant force this season with the defensive line that they have just created. And he has good experience with it. And the new additions that will be on that team this season. So like I said, I'm expecting him to stay at right guard. Let's bring in a couple of tidbits here. Let me share my screen, and I'm going to bring in the news break here from the NFL, just so you guys can see it. Verify that it's not coming from me. What's funny is this morning I had a conversation with Derek, and I said, Kevin Zeitler's the guy that makes the most sense. He should be on his way to Detroit, hopefully. And we hung up the phone, and 6 hours later, here he comes. So Kevin Zeitler, updated by Ian Rappaport, rap sheet there through the NFL, that Lions are signing offensive lineman Kevin Zeitler to a 1-year deal. Makes great sense. Perfect guy to have on this team. But I want to bring in one other thing here. I want to bring in Kevin's PFF grades and talk about this for a moment. And I promise I'll bounce to the chat in just a moment here. So last season, Jonah Jackson didn't even come close to these grades. This guy is a mauler, not so much in the run blocking game, but he is a very good run blocker. The issue that the Ravens had on their offensive line last year was they had a little bit of a problem with injury. And whenever that happens, I mean, as we've seen, even on our own offensive line, you have to move guys around. And I think they started like 10 games or so with, their original core for the Ravens. But towards the end of the season, they started to have some problems there with injury. So for whatever reason, they ended up, the 3rd best offensive line? And that's not by mistake. And Zeitler is one of the stalwarts on that offensive line. So we are grabbing a guy, in my opinion, obviously more experienced, veteran leadership, and someone that is better than Jonah Jackson. Only 4 penalties all season, only 2 sacks allowed all season, played 982 snaps at right guard, grades out at 82.5 in pass blocking, which is exactly where we're going to need this guy to be, because the Lions, I believe, are going to amp up the air raid offense just a little bit in 2024, but we'll talk about that in another video. 69.3 overall. And why does this matter? Well, let's bring in Jonah Jackson. And I know that really this is going to matter for Graham Glasgow, because I do believe that Graham Glasgow is going to go to the left side. But Jonah's grades were not that great. Now, he only had 5 penalties and 2 sacks, but his grades were not great at all. And this is a major upgrade. So whether he stays on the right or goes to the left, it's a major upgrade. And then when you look at Graham Glasgow's grades, you can see why this is going to be a perfect signing. Graham Glasgow had a heck of a season. Now, his pass blocking was a little bit light, but his run blocking grade was awesome. And overall, I mean, 75.1. You can't ask for a better grade from a guy that was supposed to be a backup. And again, only 5 penalties and only 2 sacks allowed all season. I mean, amazing season for Graham Glasgow. And so whether he's on the right or the left, we've got an upgrade over Jonah Jackson, and that's the only thing that matters. So perfect signing by Brad Holmes. Couldn't have been at a better time. Look, he's hit it out the park again. We started off slow. You guys know that I was a little bit warm with it the first day because, you're seeing all these guys get taken, but Brad Holmes has really filled out this offseason nicely. He's done an excellent job. We are now in position, pole position, as I like to call it, to go BPA all day. Brad is going to be able to play this lottery and win big again in the draft, knowing that he can be comfortable. He doesn't have to be stressed. He doesn't have to worry about filling needs. Now he can grab the best football players available. Not just the best player, but the best football players. The guys that live, eat, and breathe this game. The guys that want to be in Detroit. The guys that are selfless, that want to work in, a hive, whether it's offense or defense, that they want to work together. And I think that's the commonality that these guys share that we're seeing so far with the guys that Brad has brought in, is that they are selfless. They don't care about just themselves. They care about the team. And you heard it from DJ Reader. He said, look, if Hutch is on, I want to be the guy cheering him on. If Hutch is off, I want to be the guy to get him on. Not an exact quote, but I'm sure I was close. And you heard that same thing from everybody else too. Like Amik, he had some great things to say in his press conference and even the other day. So great signings. The fact that he is a little bit older, I think, will give this offensive line that veteran leadership. And shout out Braylon Dennis, $5 super chat says, does this solve our guard problem, or do we still draft a guard? Great question. I think it's a simple answer would be we have to draft a guard. We have to. And it could be somebody that, is versatile, that maybe is a tackle that can play guard, or a guard that can play center. I think that that's the play here. And the reason why is this is just a 1-year deal. So you want to get somebody into that offense that can learn from these vets. I think it would be a big mistake if we didn't get somebody. I mean, it's like, you grab a really good quarterback, but you have a really good quarterback and they can sit and learn. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Jordan Love. I hate the Packers, but you get the idea that all of these guys sit and wait and learn from the guys above them, the guys that are, all pros, the guys that are, Hall of Famers. And when they get into the game, it's much easier for them. And they've had that time to practice. So I think that it's beneficial for Brad Holmes to bring us, whether it's a tackle or a guard, versatile somebody that can learn this season, that, can step in at a moment's notice, because you don't know who's going to get hurt this season. And I hate even putting that out there, but it's inevitable. It's football. People get hurt. It's a tough game. So I think that it solves our problem for this year for our starters, but I don't believe that it solves our future. At 34 years old, how much longer is he really going to play? And that's my biggest question. When you get to this age, you've been playing for this many seasons in the NFL. We've seen it happen before where they join a team and then all of a sudden they wake up one day and they're like, yeah, I don't feel like playing football today. and they retire. So that's the thing that would worry me, is that when these guys get up in age a little bit, you got to have something in the funnel. All right. There was a couple of people in here, and I haven't been able to read all the chats, but there was a couple of people in here that were calling for Zeitler to this team. So excellent job. You guys got you got the feel, man. You got the eyes for it. And he is a great signing. He's a perfect pickup for this team. Let me see what some of you guys are saying here. Killer Kev says Brad Cooks indeed. Stanley Miner says he loves this loves this move. Sorry. And Better the Hunt. What's happening, my man? We'll see you guys here in a little bit. Braylon Dennis, John Desage. Brad is cooking. Sports Talk with Rob. Brad heard Mike Greenberg hating and kept making moves. Man, we're going to talk about Mike Greenberg tonight and why Brad Holmes is smarter than Mike Greenberg. You know, he can sit in his armchair all day and talk, but it's just words. C-Claus 21 says Graham could move over. Absolutely. Let's see. Jonathan Mauenberg says go Lions. Hopefully I got your name right. Josh Jackson, do you see our chat? I see it now. Sorry about that, Jonathan. It's just when I get started, I try to get everything out and then I roll back. Josh Jackson says great signing. Better the Hunt loves the signing. Shadow Viper 619, even though he's older, it's a great signing. Z Digital says PFF already switched him to the Lions. Look, man, they're getting ahead of the game. Guns Films, Jason says all the 1-year deals tell me they will be in for a year and the draft picks will be their replacement at some point. You know, that's the one thing that I noticed that, you know, we do sign a lot of 1-year guys, right? And this year he handed out a 2-year to DJ, a 2-year to Amik, a 1-year to Davis, 3-year to Graham. And we just don't, I mean, it's supposed to be a 1-year to Zeitler. And I think it was a 1-year to Marcus, right? So I think those 3 positions there, all the 1 years, to your point, will be targeted in the draft. And if you look at the, you know, the parity between what he's doing in free agency, the length of the contract, you're exactly right. He's going to do the same thing in the draft. He's going to try to target the backups, the guys that can fill the funnel and be ready to go. I call it roster roulette. It's just a term that I came up with last year on how to fill the funnel and keep it active, keep the cap low, keep the high quality players in and keep them on a rotation, you know, and not only does it build your depth behind certain positions, but it also helps with keeping the cap manageable for some of the more expensive positions, defensive end, quarterback, not so much because you can keep him around forever. And, wide receiver, defensive tackle, cornerback, those are probably the 4 main positions, left tackle, that you want to kind of keep that hopper full and make sure that you have somebody that can step in. It's hard to do. It's obviously I've never had to do it, but it's got to be hard to do. Thomas Rotundi says this gives us all trade possibilities. It does. We don't have to target anybody right now. If I would say that we would target somebody, it would probably be a defensive end first. Because when you look at where we're aligning right now, we're aligned, the offensive line's good. We could start day one with who we have. The DBs are good. They could start day one with who we have. Wide receiver, same thing. Tight end, same thing. This team is already ready to go. And at this point now it's like luxury picks. So, all right, we'll be back here at 8:00. I've got about 10 minutes. I'll probably be a few minutes late. But I want to end this one and we'll start the off the cuff live show tonight. So all 300 plus you guys come on back at 8:00. We're going to talk about this again a little bit and talk about Mike Greenberg and where the Lions are headed next. All right, y'all. We'll see you shortly. Bye-bye.